Okay, so hello everyone, my name's Lacon and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been some time, it's been maybe 7 years since last time I've uploaded, and one of the reasons I decided to come back is because I'm taking it a little bit more lightly this time. Now, only recently I started a gaming blog on Instagram. You can follow me at Laconify.png, and on there I started it off as just some shit posting, really. Like, if I was gaming, I could take a screenshot, post it, say a couple of my words and move on. And I just having a lot of fun playing video games again and posting about it. And also, what a poetic way to return to this YouTube channel with a dreams video out of anything. And so I don't know, I just find it really funny how it's such a cycle, and we basically back where we left off in a way. Took this hiatus. I went to university. I finished my A levels, and now I have time. I live on my own and got dreams again. I got my PlayStation 4 again, and I mean the PlayStation went on hiatus as well, all the way back to Poland to my brother. Somehow managed to get it back, and now I'm back here, and we back basically not doing anything other than continuing, which I think is just so nice. This map that I'm creating, this is from NosTale. Let me actually play it. So I have this little character that is in this world. This is the jelly entrance map from NosTale, a game from my childhood. I'm not sure if I spoke too much about it on here, but I did speak a little bit about it on the blog. Either way, I'm just recreating it. It's not finished. This is only the latest version, which just recently I added these signs. And in this video, I want to redo the way I interact with them. So I wanted to have this little interactive button. And this one in particular, the version of it, I've just looked it up, and it's called World Space UI. I got inspired by Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where when you approach things, they just sort of pop up in the real world, or in the game world, or in the world space. And yeah, these little UI prompts are just so cool. I think they look great, and it's very immersive. And I figured I want to view the creation I've done. So this little button brings you closer. It brings a little camera in. It gives you a little close prompt, and you can look at and admire the sign. Now, doubted the sign is not that great. I'm thinking of redoing it at some point, but for now, a little placeholder. For now, it will do. It will do. Okay, I'm not an artist, especially not in dreams, but it will do. And yeah, you close, and then it goes back to our character. So it's a very, very simple little logic here going on that I'm going to go over, and then we're going to redo it, and we're going to do it better. Okay, so let me show you how I've somehow managed to do this. So firstly, I got this little sculpture that is actually invisible. So if I preview invisibility, it disappears. And the reason I've done this is because so I could copy this, and I could have them anywhere I want them to be. Okay, so that was the idea behind this. Inside of this group of sculpture, I've got a microchip, which is this one right here. And what a mess. We're gonna obviously remake this. And this whole logic, it starts off right here. So first thing I'm doing is just detecting if a player is nearby, specifically in this tiny little window. And if it is, then I'm going to display this thing in the world. So just above the cube, actually. Or maybe just in front of the microchip. Either way, it just displays it. One thing here is that it's in the scene, and I just changed some colors and things. To get the actual icon, you can type in triangle, like so, and it will just come up with a triangle. So that's pretty useful. Now, you notice there's an AND gate here. That's because I'm also testing if we're not already previewing it. Let's see where this actually goes. It goes over here into this counter. And this counter, it goes up to 1 if we're actually previewing, or if we scope it. What you would call this? Inspecting this little sign. So this goes up. Now, the controller sensor and the trigger zone go into an AND gate. And if both of these are on, like let's say the triangle is pressed and we're in the zone, it will increase this counter by 1 to 1. And if that is so, I'm going to go back around, I'm going to go through a NOT gate, and I'm going to go through this AND gate to this text displayer that shows my little button prompt. The reason for this is because I don't want this button prompt to show while we are inspecting. I want it to just disappear. That's how I've done this little portion. And now here's the thing I don't like and why I want to redo this, is because I used variables to do the next bit. To hide the player, to make it so that the player cannot move, I used variables, which isn't the greatest thing. Here, I think it's just so complicated with so many wires floating everywhere. And so I want to redo this using wireless transmitters and receivers, and also selectors. I believe that is a thing here somewhere. We will go into it. So when the counter is full, it sets the variable hide player to 1. And that variable lives in my level stuff. This is my little microchip for all my little level stuff. Level stuff. And it lives right here. Let me actually move this forward. And in here, I have this variable, hide player. And this one goes, if we follow the wire, into my Puppet logic, where I'm doing some calculations. So if it's equal to 1, I think, it will turn off the controller logic entirely, so I can't move. And it will go into the Puppet itself, and it will make it invisible. So that's how I do that. And you can probably sense as to the reason as to why I want to change the system. One of them is I don't like these wires, so we're just going to make it neater using wireless transmitters. It sort of reminds me of when I used to do Scratch, and you could transmit or broadcast a message, and then anything else could receive that message and do something. And I basically want to recreate it in Dreams using those wireless transmitters and receivers. I want to broadcast a message saying, hey, we are just inspecting a sign here. And then whoever is listening, let's say our puppet is going to listen and say, yeah, okay, this is what we got to do. We got to turn off our controller and we're going to make ourselves invisible. And that way, this is also scalable. So anything could broadcast this transmit this message. And so I could have different types of signs or different ways to transmit this message. So not just these things in particular have to transmit it. But yeah, so these variables, and then it sets it to 1. It also gives it a little bit of a timer here. And I think, yeah, after 2 seconds, it's gonna increase this counter, which then makes it so it displays a close message or closing prompt. It also, of course, controls our camera, which just looks into here. Now, if the counter is full and we are pressing the circle button, it's going to reset this counter. It's going to reset this counter, this timer, and this counter right here, so we can go back to our normal state. And of course, with this incredible wire, it's going to also make the hide player variable set to 0. So I do have a little bit of a plan of what I want to do, and I'm thinking of how I'm going to do it, but ultimately we're just going to be making it on the fly. But yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is just delete these cubes. I don't need them. We're going to make them ourselves. We're also going to remove this variable. This used to be my debugger. It used to show that variable. We don't need it either. And we don't need this calculator either. So we're going to do this later on. This is all my level stuff logic, which I don't need. It can just go away. However, actually, I might just turn off all of my black stuff. Okay, now with the cleaned up little level area, let's do some logic. The first thing I should probably mention is, yeah, I'm going to redo the logs and the planks and things like that, but we live. I'm thinking before I've used a cube or I've used a sculpture. I don't even think I need a sculpture. I can obviously just working a microchip. So I'm just going to get a microchip. And I'm just going to place it here. And I could probably just duplicate that whenever I need, right? So saves us a little bit of graphics memory, doesn't it? Okay, inside here. Now I'm going to name this. I was thinking of what names to use for different things. And I've done some research online. And I figured we could use something like int for interactive stuff in our thing. And we could just call it a jelly sign. I wonder if we can also customize this a little bit. Maybe with a controller? Yeah, let's do a controller. And maybe let's do a different color, like a dark green. It's like a neon green. Why is it doing that? Anyway, let's use this. This is fine. And the first thing I want to do here is we're going to use a little trigger zone to start this entire thing. Let's edit it. Now, we could use a sphere. I think a sphere is fine. It works. But I used a cylinder before. And we sort of just want to stand right sort of in front. Make this a little bit bigger. I think that works. I think that's nice. Nice little zone. And this is going to go to the text displayer. I think it's here. Yep, text displayer. Like so. Edit it. And I'm just going to put a triangle in there. Like so. And I'm going to put it into the world. Like so. That looks nice. And I'm just going to design it a little bit. So I know that I want the background to be like a dark greenish sort of color. The reason for this is because NosTale, or sort of the early iterations of NosTale UI, were green. And I figured it just looks nice. It's fine. Now I do want the circle to be just in a circle. So this triangle circle in a circle. But we will have to adjust our... Instead of having an autofill, we'll have to do this ourselves. If I get rid of my grid snap. Sort of want to do this myself to make a nice little border, basically, around it. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit of a lighter green. Yeah, that looks nice. So now whenever... Oh, and we're just gonna connect this. Start text. Yeah, I guess. Do we need to start it or do we need to just power it? I usually just power stuff. Yeah. So we'll just power it so it appears on and off. So now when I get the player to stand it, it should just pop up. Now this looks tiny. So we'll just make that text a little bit bigger. Like so. And also we need to face it, the player. So I think there is a face camera. And we don't need that. And it should just, yeah, follow us like that. That was quite nice. Yeah, that looks nice. Let's see if it looks nice with our fog. Yeah, that looks nice. Sweet. Another thing I want to do is maybe make it a little bit of a lighter green. So it's not white on dark green. It's like a... like so. I think that looks pretty nice. Oh. Even that blue color looked really nice. Sweet. So now we have our little text displayer for the prompt. Should we name this as well? If we're doing it properly, I guess. This is called diegetic UI, but also world space UI. So I'm not sure what to call it. I think we'll just go with world space since I've used that word before. I'll call it that. Even though now... oh no, it does appear here. Okay. Nice. Sweet. So we got this now. Done. Another thing now we need to sense is our controller. So we can go to our sensors. Our controller sensor. Just going to delete all these wires because we don't need them. Right click. And we need to make this a remote. So is this literally just called important properties? Okay, media molecule. Oh, there it is. Possession mode. Remote controllable. And now we need an AND gate. That's an OR gate. AND gate. And we're just going to grab a triangle button. And our zone detection. And now we need a wireless transmitter. I don't even know where this is found. Oh, there it is. Wireless receiver. Wireless transmitter. There we go. Cool. And we're going to put a result of that into the power. I think. What is this used for? Use this input to define the signal you want to transmit wirelessly to a receiver. Use this output to send a signal received wirelessly from a receiver to another gadget. Cool. I think we just need to power it, right? Everywhere. So it's going to be called event inspect start. Okay. So we got that set up. So the only thing that this really does is just broadcast this message or transmit this message that the inspection is starting. Now, in our puppet, I'm going to make some logic here. First thing I want to put down is a selector. There it is, selector. So this is going to be a state selector. Our first state is going to be our default mode. So I don't think I need to wire anything, do I? And our B state is going to be whenever we are inspecting. Let's put our wireless receiver here. And we'll call this event. Inspect start. How do I put it here? Let's put it here then. Why do we have to do that? I'm not sure. Okay, we'll put it here instead of in the name. And for now, we'll just use a NOT gate, I think. We'll just use a NOT gate. If it's not that, this can be powered. And visibility can be powered. Cool, should we test if this actually does anything now? So, what I anticipate to happen is our character should disappear and we shouldn't be able to move our character. And nothing happens. Interesting. I'm not sure why this, maybe this is not transmitting. Do I need to do this instead? Oh, I do. That's cool. Wow, okay. So we figured this out. Nice. You know, before how I've had so many things all over the place, I kind of just want to just put it into a timeline. I should be able to put a camera on this timeline. I can. Okay, awesome. So we'll place that here. And now, can I just click on here? Perfect. We will get our view of our whole place. Like so. I also want to add a text that basically says click circle to go back. Awesome, we can also put it here. Amazing. We'll put it a little bit after the fact. You know how like before I had a timer and after 2 seconds it showed